Welcome one and all to Pit Road Productions for the final round of the first season of the No Limit Racing Late Model Series. It has been a long and arduous season for many of the drivers in this championship. It's been rather interesting for us up here in the booth as we've seen drivers come and go and see how the championship standings change and flex as we make our way across iRacing's finest dirt ovals. But it all comes down to this, the final round here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Very interesting track, this one. A bit flatter than the other tracks that we've been to this season. It should produce some great racing. This is a great track for the late models. And bringing it to you all live is myself, Rhys Gardner, with Daniel Salmon alongside me in the commentary box and also producing behind the scenes on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel. If you're in the chat, say hi, and let's get the show started, Zippy. This is going to all come down to whether or not James Dorr is able to win the championship tonight.
Absolutely, and then not only that, it is indeed a double point scoring round, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely mixing it up a little bit there before they do Season 2 on the 1st of July. Very much looking forward to that, having the return of No Limit Racing. But I got to say, I've got more into it each and every race, Rhys. It's definitely been a lot of fun. I make no apologies. I definitely do not fully understand this yet, but I'm definitely very much enjoying it from a spectator point of view. Actually, I do find it gives us some fantastic battles. And I got to say as well, there's been a lot of work gone into this league behind the scenes. And I think it's really starting to pay off. We're up to a massive 13 cars here tonight for the final round.
Yeah, fantastic amount of cars here, consistent amount of drivers, and we still have our championship protagonists, or most of them at least, in the server here. Well, we have we've been to plenty of racetracks over the course of this season, haven't we, Zippy? And pretty much every single one of them has been your first time experiencing them. It's been my pleasure bringing this schedule to you and showing you what dirt racing is all about. We started at Lanier, then Charlotte for round 2, Cedar Lake, one of my favorites, for round 3, Eldora for the mid-season championship, and Volusia, then Fairbury. Lernerville, I think, was the big one for us. So much fun we had realizing the potential of a track with no wall on the outside through the turns. Knoxville, the previous round last week, and Lucas Oil here to round out the season. Now, I am about as familiar with Lucas Oil Speedway as you are, so this is going to be a learning experience for both of us here in the final round.
Well, definitely, and I got to say, Rhys, it is going to be a 50-lap race tonight as well for the championship closer, so I got to admit, it's all looking better and better. Definitely, there's a couple of tracks, don't ask me which one it was, but there was this one particular one, I think you was telling me about Volusia, I think it was, which absolutely incredible. We had some great battles last week as well, but I think we've got a 50-lap race with the most amount of drivers we've seen so far. So, yeah, this is only going to be good news, and I'm really looking forward to Season 2.
Yeah, I certainly am as well. We have been told the base details for when that next season is going to get going, but we'll leave off that information until later. For now, championship standings time. James Dorr and Justin Regan are the top two in the championship, and James Dorr has had a fantastic form in the last couple of rounds. The guy who was leading the championship from the very start, Jackson Whittington, has not been here for the last few rounds, and he's not here tonight from what I can see. A shame that we've lost Jackson. He will be 5th in the championship coming into this round, but it's still looking rather close between Garrett Hommel and Ben Wilson. Only 15 points or so separating them for that place in the championship. And it looks like the championship is in James Dorr's hands, but if Dustin Regan and Jared Miller pull a bit of a surprise, then there's potential for a bit of an upset.
Yeah, definitely going to be a fun round, and not only that, I love it when it comes down to the final round to really be the decider as well, Rhys. But we should probably take a quick look as well, as the overlay has just decided to have a little bit of a peace out. We'll get that fixed right away. But these guys currently are doing some lane qualifying.
Indeed they are. It's 5 minutes, 2 laps each. to set their times for the grid. And Garrett Hommel has put his first time down, 14.3 seconds, the pace-setting lap here thus far. Douglas Rockwell just putting in a time good enough for 4th place. Still waiting on times from the majority of the drivers in the field as Nick Rhys goes to the top on a 14.34. This is looking very close.
Yeah, definitely. And don't get me wrong, it's a very, very short lap as well. There's not too many circuits I've been to which I could say that I can lap them in 14 seconds. Not unless you gave me, I don't know, the Back to the Future DeLorean perhaps. And the only way I'm going to do that lap is if I can literally travel through time to have myself cross the finish line, albeit a lap later. But don't get me wrong, mystical vehicles aside, it's going to be a very, very fun round. And definitely, Ben Wilson, you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do here today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Keeping an eye on the practice times, it looks like Ben Wilson was able to set a best time of a 14.4, and 14.7 is his quickest time so far in qualifying. So he's a few tenths off the pace at the front, but you never know how things are going to turn out when it comes time for racing. Thomas Hall is another driver that I'll be watching very intently. He's one of the drivers who came in a few rounds into the championship, and particularly at Cedar Lake, he almost immediately showed that he was a pace setter, and there was plenty that he could do. For the moment, putting himself into 8th, and this angle is really giving us a sense for how the banking changes around this track. Like I said, it is a flatter circuit than most of what we've seen, but you actually notice that beyond that small amount of banking, the berm is very flat. So that's going to, I think, be a defining factor for the racing tonight. You don't want to run too far up over that little berm there, otherwise you might lose time.
Well, definitely a very interesting pit lane as well, as it looks like Mason Setting is going to be the last driver out to set the qualifying time in the number 14 car from Ohio.
Yes, a couple more laps yet to set here for Mason Setting. He just came into the server, and he'll be with no practice to his name as well. So keep an eye out for what he can do here. Look at that time there, immediately up to 6th there for Mason Setting. And he is running way down low. He's got to be careful of those tires down on the bottom. I think he just got a 0x on that lap. He just touched one of the truck tires down low. And it looks like that's going to be the only lap that Mason Setting will be able to set, as it were.
Yeah, definitely. He was running incredibly close, but fun fact is he is actually the highest I-rating driver in the session. 2,760 I-rating, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty respectable by anyone's means, but it looks like we do indeed have the grid ready for the very first race.
There we do indeed. Heat 1 is upon us, and Nick Rhys was the quickest driver in qualifying, so he starts on pole for this one. Brock Morris is going to start P2 with Mike Henderson and Kenneth Feeney on the second row. Douglas Rockwell rounding out the 5-car grid for the first heat. We have 14 drivers in the session, so we're going to have 3 heats. The first 2 of 5 cars each, and the third of 4 cars. Now, we wait for the run behind the pace truck to get our 2 formation laps going. Good opportunity, Zippy, to shout out, of course, the big supporter, big sponsor of No Limit Racing, and that is P1 Sim Sports. They supply high-end sim racing components and tailor-made sim racing rigs to casual users, esports sim racers, real-life race car drivers, and event organizers. The state-of-the-art designs create an immersive, ergonomic, and realistic experience that focuses on driver comfort, engagement, and feedback, all critical if you want to be competitive. And their unique approach helps create the ultimate experience for you, whether you're just getting started, want to grow over time, or have it all today. One of the things that you could have over the course of this season, if you're a Ferda driver, was a special 3D printed nameplate, thanks, of course, to P1 Sim Sports. And, well, there's quite a few drivers, including our league admin and yourself, actually, outside of the drivers, that picked those up.
Yeah, definitely, and I got a nice Canadian flag with a Zippy right next to it, literally to the left of me, but it looks like we're getting ready to take this race live. Race definitely going to be a absolute belter. It looks like they did a whole lap behind the pace truck. Interesting. Definitely not what I was expecting there.
Yeah, so the location of the pits at Lucas Oil here. out of turns 1 and 2, so half a lap that they were touring there. Nick Rhys getting off to a great start for the first heat, but already challenging for second is Mike Henderson up the inside of Brock Morris, trying that low line here. You've got to be so careful of the tyres. Contact is made, and Morris is shuffled out of the way.
Well, these guys are going to still keep battling as they go side by side. It's Henderson versus Morris, and the battle continues. Nick Rhys been able to pull away, but it looks like Kenneth Feeney looking to get in on that battle as well in the number 24 car. Morris is there in the middle, and you see that another little bit of contact with the John Deere car. These guys are going to be able to keep it going.
Yeah, that is the question. They're starting to run up a little bit higher. Nick Rhys is running away with this up at the front, but the battle is on for second. Oh, no, Feeney's just walled it. And it looks like he's going to immediately escape off, and that will be the end of it for Kenneth Feeney thus far. The caution has been brought out in response to that incident, but it looks to me like we're not going to be seeing Kenneth Feeney go any further into this race. What exactly happened to him is the question. Bolting it into the corner there, and that's what I'm talking about right there. He just got caught up on the berm up at the top of the circuit, and there was nothing he could do to keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, take a look from another different camera angle here. For a minute there, I thought he had a little bit of contact, but there was nobody there. And yep, as you said, just gets a little bit up over the berm, and that little bit of off camera was just enough to unsettle the car, I guess.
Certainly was, and well, since Feeney went over the berm, he's elected to stay in the pits. So he will not be returning to the racetrack. And we'll have 4 cars taking to the restart here for the final few laps of the heat. Heats are only 8 laps here. So this should still get done in a very short amount of time. Nick Rhys, though, has dominated this so far. Can Henderson beat Morris? Is the big question on my mind. He has that front row start, but the advantage falls to the people on the inside here because they can follow the leader right through. That is fantastic there from Brock Morris. He was right on it, and now he's challenging Nick Rhys for the lead on this restart.
Yeah, definitely. He was very potent. He was keen to go, and Nick Rhys very much now under some pressure there. Mike Henderson, I almost wonder if he was fast asleep because he's now getting a bit of pressure from Douglas Rockwell. But right now, the pressure is indeed on the John Deere machine. Definitely not going as slow as the tractor right now. He is absolutely sending it and trying to apply some pressure to the number 2, the race leader, the pole sitter of Nick Rhys.
It's already getting very slick up the top there, coming into the corners, which means the rear end is going to be sliding around. You need a lot of momentum around this circuit. It is sideways as heck, and really appreciate seeing the angle that the cars take on the way into these corners. They are working the wheels so hard here.
Whoa.
Coming up now to the penultimate lap.
I like that camera.
Finish here.
I'm having a bit too much fun with that. I would apologise, but I'm not gonna. That was absolutely fantastic there. You see Nick Rhys and Brock Morris absolutely flying by. It looks like Nick Rhys has got it in the bag. He's not got long left to go. Runs out pretty wide there, able to keep it in check. A beautiful curvaceous corner there as Brock Morris has indeed dropped back. The closest battle is indeed for the P1 spot though, as Nick Rhys gets it there in the bag. But I gotta say, great charge there from Brock Morris, a good solid effort, and Douglas Rockwell able to move himself up 1 position as well. Let's take a quick look at the results.
Yes, indeed. So Kenneth Feeney, the one retirement from this heat, with Rhys, Morris and Henderson your podium. Rockwell finishing 4 seconds behind the leader there to round out 4th. And just like that, we are into Heat 2. Garrett Hommel going to start on pole for this one with Dustin Regan alongside him. James Dorr, championship leader, going to start 3rd for this heat with Landon Falkenberg and William Kirk rounding out the field. This is going to be an extra competitive one, I believe. Hommel has certainly found quite a bit of pace here at Lucas Oil. We can always count on Dustin Regan to be a factor early on.
He's actually probably one of the most cheered on people. Actually, no, himself or James Dorr. I believe it's James Dorr, actually, who gets cheered on in the chat. By all means, correct me if I'm wrong, but certainly the fan club is a little bit quiet today, considering it's double points for the final round.
Yeah, certainly is. A lot of points on offer for the final round of No Limit Racing. These pro late models certainly proving popular. And now waiting for the call to the green flag. Hommel will control the start here as they tour down the back straight one final time. Where do you accelerate is the big question here, and it's right in the midpoint of turns 3 and 4 for Garrett Hommel, and he's followed very nicely by James Dorr, who gets down low and secures the spot over Dustin Regan. Falkenberg now a factor in the battle as well. Have a look at Regan's line there. He's running up top where a little bit of the fresher clay is, and oh no, he's just caught the berm. He's rolling up over it just about. He gathers it up there though, has lost the spot to Falkenberg.
Yeah, for a minute I thought it was going to end very badly there. As Falkenberg gets a little bit of a slide, carries a bit too much into speed there, and Regan is able to snake his way back. Now William Kirk looking to apply a bit of pressure there to Falkenberg. Not quite got the pace, though. Definitely applying a good helping of pressure. As you can see there, Falkenberg still very much not out the battle yet in the 21 machine, as Dustin Regan in hot pursuit of James Dorr.
It looks like James Dorr not quite the fastest driver here today, so it's going to be a big challenge for him to try and maintain that championship lead, and he'll have to focus on just finishing as high as he possibly can. He's running right over the berm there, or basically right on it. It looks like Dustin Regan has decided to start running a little bit lower himself. Potentially, there's some fresh clay starting to come into its own down low there. The time's looking good for James Dorr, though. It took him a bit to get up to pace, but he's right on the back of Hommel now.
Yeah, he's definitely applying a good portion of pressure. He's only got 2 laps to try and get that move done. As you see, Hommel absolutely sliding it. It's the 42 versus the 78. And at the minute, the 78 applying a very healthy amount of pressure is James Dorr. He's just edging very, very slightly close. You can just see it there on the exit, almost touching there the back of Garrett Hommel.
White flag and James Dorr down low in turns 1 and 2. Drag race down the back straight. Can Garrett Hommel maintain the high line here? The slide job from James Dorr. He gets the lead coming into turns 3 and 4 and wins the heat. Well,
was that contact?
It was, yeah. But I think fairly typical for dirt racing. This is the sort of stuff that you expect the least of. And James Dorr firing it into the corner there to try and make a V shape out of the corner and get the run out. He will be classified 4 tenths ahead of Garrett Hommel. They're taking the lead in the final couple of corners. Landon Falkenberg, Dustin Regan, and William Kirk rounding out the field there. And it'll be time in no time for Heat 3. Jared Miller pulling away there at the front, with Mason Setting alongside him. Thomas Hall and Ben Wilson rounding out our field for the last heat of the season. Now, Mason Setting put in a fantastic performance in qualifying for someone who only just got into the server in qualifying. What that tells me is we haven't seen his ultimate pace yet. He might still be getting used to the track, and so we might see more pace from him.
Yeah, definitely getting a little bit of activity in the chat now. We've got cheering on for William Kirk, and then we've also got a comment from Cody Center that I'm not going to say on air, but certainly he wasn't happy with one of the moves there, is the impression I'm getting. But don't get me wrong, it made for great entertainment from where I was at, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, I've got to be honest, Mason Setting, he's the highest ranked I rating here. Definitely think he's maybe a little bit cold. He's not quite shaking the rust off yet. Can he be able to improve against probably one of the most competitive drivers we've seen in terms of track position, Jared Miller in another 70 machine?
Green flag flies and we are away. Thomas Hall very close to Jared Miller on the inside there, and Mason Setting absolutely launching it out of the corners there. He used the berm to full effect. He's running as far up as you can go without losing pace, and that is magnificent, that run from him. It looks like Jared Miller is unable to keep the pace up down low. Hall is going to follow Setting.
Yeah, Hall looks like he's just on the scene, like almost as if Pandora's box has just been opened there. Setting absolutely riding the berm, but he's got a little bit of contact there with the wall. It's Jared Miller looking to take that inside line.
Yeah, Miller now trying to defend here from Hall. He's still comfortable running low, but let's see what Hall can do here on the exit. The problem is there's no space for him up top. Yellow flag out, and Jared Miller with massive damage. Oh, I don't know if he can turn that car. I think he's going to escape back to the pits there. Ah, dear. That's not good. Well, Miller tried his best here, but you could see that Hall with the high line, he was getting those great exits out of the corner. The problem for Hall was he couldn't take advantage of that exit because Miller was running high down the straights, and the two lines just came together.
Yeah, definitely. You can see there, he just started to drift out. Hall was already there, and, you know, it happens.
Certainly does. Well, yeah, you can see that Miller had the steering cranked as far as he could on the left-hand side, but the right side suspension was completely broken, so no steering in that car. And that's going to bring us down to only 3 cars in this field.
It looked like the wheel was almost like a caster, actually, the way he had it. And Jared Miller currently in the pits, but I know we have seen race control previously where they will allow the full course caution to continue in an effort to get the cars back out on track. But it's fair to say that's pretty mullered at this point.
I mean, there are fast repairs, but I think what's the bigger concern is the tow time, because Miller did escape off the track. He'll have to wait until he can actually get back in the car in the pit lane. And that might be a bit too long here for this heat. They are getting back to green flag racing conditions as we speak. So Mason Setting now leading and leading us away here as we find our way to the last few laps of this feature. Yeah, we're already live, Zippy. You're still on replay.
Oh, it's not going back then. All right.
Right.
Give me a second there.
Well, I can. I'll just go Pit Road Productions radio here for the final couple of laps. Then Mason Setting still leading the way of Thomas Hall as we find our way to the final lap of the race. It's been some good runnings from Thomas Hall, but I don't think there's much he'll be able to do here because Mason's Setting going all the way down low to try and protect the line there. The top still has a lot in it though, and the gap is not going to decrease there for Thomas Hall. Mason Setting wins heat number 3, and that will bring us into the feature. Well, strong drive from Mason. I'll be very interested to see what he can do in the feature. Jared Miller making it back out on track just in time there, and he will finish in 4th for that one, with Setting, Hall and Wilson being your podium. Well, it is time then for the feature, Zippy. We are straight into it. And by virtue of winning Heat 1, Nick Rhys will start on pole position with James Dorr alongside him and Mason Setting in 3rd. Our Heat winners there up the top. Brock Morris, Garrett Hommel and Thomas Hall the next 3 positions, with Mike Henderson and Landon Falkenberg on row 4. Ben Wilson and Douglas Rockwell rounding out your top 10, with Dustin Regan and Jared Miller 11th and 12th. Kenneth Feeney and William Kirk round out the 14 cars to take to the final race of the season. Now, scheduled for 50 green flag laps. It is quite the end to the season, and of course we still have those double points on offer, so there could be some big swings.
Yeah, definitely still a lot to play for. Definitely a little bit unfortunate for Jackson Whittington as well, as we do have Leander now cheering for Jared Miller as well, who is in currently starting in P10 for the main feature race.
Well, hopefully your guy gets the run that he needs. Touring around for the 2 formation laps here. Pressure is on for Nick Rhys, and the pressure is certainly on for James Dorr as well. What we've learned is that the racing can be brutal, and Dorr has been the giver in terms of sliders going wrong thus far. There's every chance that someone might do the same thing to him, and that could jeopardize the championship. Need to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, it definitely could get very interesting. But I've got to say, what an incredible field of cars as the safety truck has indeed pulled in. Rhys, are you ready to go?
I don't know if I'll ever be ready for the action that we're about to see. The drivers may not be ready either. This is going to be an incredible final round of the No Limit Racing season. Brought to you, of course, by P1 Sim Sports. We are away nice and early here, with Nick Rhys getting the start absolutely nailed. Dipping down low as Mason's setting. Look at the pace that setting is carrying down low there. That's the fastest car I've seen down the bottom tonight, but he switches up to the top to try and catch up further to Nick Rhys.
You see James Dorr looking to try and apply some pressures. Garrett Hommel coming in with a little bit of a slide as well. Side by side there with James Dorr. More battles happening throughout the field. Thomas Hall and Brock Morris going side by side. More battles happening. Ben Wilson getting into a battle as well, as it looks like Jared Miller getting caught into some action with Ben Wilson right behind.
Yeah, not good for Dustin Regan. He's certainly got a good position in the championship to protect. Mason Setting has gotten into the lead, and he is trying his best to maintain the gap there. But down the inside goes the number 19, and Nick Rhys. We will see if he has the pace down low there. He's been running the top pretty much all night long. You can see Setting is just able to make that car work down the bottom. Battle for fourth in the background there. Brock Morris trying to get past Thomas Hall and Garrett Hommel. It looks like Hall is starting to run a bit more of a middle line to protect his pace.
Yeah, certainly this three-car pack between Hommel, Hall, and Morris has been pretty much nose to tail since the start of the race, and these guys are almost showbound at this point. You see there Brock Morris going a little bit lower on exit, absolutely flying dirt everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this is incredible.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff. Lucas Oil certainly throws up an exciting race. It turns out in these early stages of the feature, if you want to be fast, you gotta run the top. And that's exactly what they're all doing here in this battle for fourth place. Can James Dorr catch up to Nick Rhys? Let's see what the lap times are like. Well, the yellow flag is out because it looks like Thomas Hall has had an issue, and I think that may have been contact in that battle for fourth, and it looks like that is indeed the case. I think he was turned by Brock Morris.
Yeah, you can see there, this is a little replay. Thomas Hall goes in. Just gets the tiniest of nudges there from Brock Morris. Definitely did not look intentional, just close racing. Fair play to those drivers who just managed to avoid it as well, though. You're doing 100 mile an hour sideways, and they still managed to dodge the number 93. That's some driving talent right there.
Yeah, certainly. I think the problem there for Hall was he got a bit too sideways, and that arrested his momentum. You know, you hear dirt racers often talk about how, yeah, of course you need to slide around these tracks to be fast, but controlling the slide is more important, and keeping the car as straight as possible while still rotating it to get around the corner is the big difference maker. For Thomas Hall, it looks like that limit was reached, and the car just started getting slowed down by going too sideways. Drivers behind always have to be careful of that.
Yeah, fair play. I was honestly really impressed that they managed to dodge that. Like, that was very impressive. But certainly, having a car sideways is definitely my kind of fun. Don't get me wrong, not in this kind of avenue. I've not done this before, but I have done rallycross, and it's fair to say I'm pretty good at it.
I need to get back into the dirt road stuff. Well, for now, keep our eyes on dirt oval as Mason's setting leads us away for the restart. And it's a good start from him, a little bit high there for Nick Rhys and Garrett Hommel, and that puts James Dorr into second place with Brock Morris challenging down low as well. This is crucial here for Dorr in the fight for the championship. Landon Falkenberg also looking to make up places here, but Mike Henderson, who we know is a challenger for podiums, trying his best to make that high line work. He looks like he might be a little bit boxed in, though. Garrett Hommel up in front of him. Falkenberg challenging down low into the corners. There's Falkenberg with contact there, and Dustin Regan and the number 70 Jared Miller get into him. Oh, and it just continues on. Ben Wilson, the last driver to get into it. Kenneth Feeney spinning at the back there. Multiple cars involved in a couple of different incidents, I think.
Yeah, it was just, I could see it coming. Like, it was like a little bit of ping pong. And, you know, don't get me wrong, we just had one incident where I was impressed to dodge it. And on this one, it was more like Skittles.
It looks like Feeney saw the incident happening ahead of him and tried to go high, but Ben Wilson was already there. And unfortunately, they all came together. Douglas Rockwell stopping on the circuit there as Regan and Falkenberg have towed back to the pits. And Looks like Ben Wilson in the pits to get repairs done as well. We're going to be seeing a little bit more lapping under caution here as Rockwell has been given the wave around. Oh dear. I think there may have been a problem with the pace car there. No, there isn't. Looks like a brief glitch on the timing. That usually happens with these dirt tracks with the pits on the outside. Sometimes that messes with the running order depending on where the pace car comes out.
Yeah, definitely. I just generally at this point let them guys get themselves sorted out, and then I'll worry about it when they get ready. When the lights go out, then I'll catch up with the timing. But definitely, you know what? I think it was a lot to ask for. 2 crashes and 2 great avoidances. These guys are doing 100 mile an hour plus. I mean, if I have a quick look at the speeds, highest speed I can see right now, 118 mile an hour, and that was from the number 21 car of Landon Falkenberg, who's currently in the pits. So it's fair to say he's been pretty quick round here so far. But hoping he can get that car out the pits. Dustin Regan currently in the pits as well. Crowd favorite, there you go, as he's just coming out of pit lane, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at that! That's a pretty view. Really get the
Lamber.
Really get the grasp of the going over out of the pits as well. You get a bit more of the elevation change.
Yes, clambering up over the berm to get back onto the racetrack, and Regan and Falkenberg will bring up the rear of the field for this this restart. And the pace truck is already in the lane, so we're going to be seeing a getaway here from Mason Setting. Once he got into the lead, he hasn't looked back thus far. What kind of challenge will Nick Rhys put on him here as the field moves away back to full power? James Dorr trying to challenge again for second place. He did lose it just before the caution came out. And Nick Rhys up top. Looks like he has the momentum.
Yeah, and watching the battle happening here between Mike Henderson and Garrett Hommel as well. Certainly both of these guys have been around since the very start of No Limit Racing, and I've definitely enjoyed watching them so far. Mike Henderson, very, very capable driver indeed. Actually, both of these drivers very, very capable. Actually, I'll say the whole field actually really capable of getting a podium here. It really could go any which way, but definitely you see Thomas Hall there looking to try and make a little bit of recovery. Currently down one position is Jared Miller, actually the hard charger. As we've gone yellow again, I believe something's happened with Kenneth Feeney and Ben Wilson.
It has indeed. Feeney going for a spin there. He went into the corner a bit too hard and collected William Kirk. And, oh, hang on a minute. This looks interesting here. The car just stops for Kenneth Feeney. Might that be a hardware issue? I'm not sure. It just looked like the brakes slammed on.
I think we had that contact with the back of Rockwell. I think that was just enough to bring him to a stop. But, I mean, we can watch it back again if you like.
Well, check it one more time here with Kenneth Feeney getting down low, trying, and yeah, I think maybe it was the car might have just been too sideways potentially. Still, I haven't seen a car come to a stop like that in a slide before. Ben Wilson, innocent victim of all of that. He will get put back to the rear of the field. And thus far, we have completed, or about to complete, 14 green flag laps of the 50 yet to come. So, I think a healthy amount of green flag running that we're seeing for the time being.
We're definitely having some fun. And I've got to say, Leander, definitely familiar with most of the drivers here in the chat. We now got cheering for Dougie. So, ladies and gentlemen, the 217 car of Douglas Rockwell.
Starts at the rear with a bit of damage. Setting leads us away, though, and down low, battle for second between Nick Rhys and James Dorr. Brock Morris getting in on it as well, but, Morris shuffles his way up into the berm and is losing 2-3 positions as Mike Henderson will come up on him there, as well as Thomas Hall, contact up high. And now the 05 of Brock Morris is put further back. Oh, dearie me, it's getting messy further back here. Morris being shuffled to the back. No caution. We stay green. That is disastrous there for Brock Morris.
You can see here, Kenneth Feeney has been able to capitalize on that very, very well. Jared Miller trying to come through as well. Almost slow, the car really slowing down on that inside section as well. It's just seen it happen again there. Jared Miller looking to make a move. He's got it done, at least for now. Can he keep it going? The battle is all happening at the back of the pack, ladies and gentlemen, as Ben Wilson's trying to make a move on William Kerr and Kenneth Feeney in the same corner. Looks like a little bit of inside car physics there, but Wilson able to keep the car going.
Yeah, only just. He's running that extreme inside line as Feeney is around. Contact with William Kirk. And the 24 is sent around again. Kenneth is having a really rough time here tonight.
Yeah, I think something may have happened with Brock Morris as well. I got this flagged as a crash, but that is not what brought out the yellow flag. That's the one we saw earlier. This poor incident. I feel bad for Kenneth Feeney at this point. You know, he's just having a little bit of the wrong place, wrong time scenario, I think, to say.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like Brock Morris immediately escaped back to the pits there. Fair amount of damage to the 05, and I think he decided it wasn't worth continuing, even though he still had a fast repair in hand. It was just really rough there for Brock. And the field will form up again behind the pace truck, with us being one driver down now in the feature.
Yeah, I definitely would not have backed out of this race. It's double points. You know, don't get me wrong, he did join late, but why would you not keep going? Like, you know, the race control has been so supportive to keep the cars going out on track. Like, I would 100% keep it going. Hopefully he is still indeed in the session, but from the information I'm getting, sadly not.
Yeah, it looks like that'll be the last we see of Brock Morris. But we'll be seeing plenty more from our front row here. Mason Setting and Nick Rhys challenging each other hard. James Dorr has been right in there as well, and there's been a revolving door of drivers challenging for those podium spots. Now falls to Garrett Hommel to try and stick with them here on the restart as they almost come together through turns 1 and 2. It's all about straightening up the car as soon as possible for the run out of the corner, and it looks like, though Nick Rhys was a little bit sooner on it, James Dorr putting his car in exactly the right spot there to get second place, and now Nick Rhys is in trouble here from Garrett Hommel. The low line, it looks like, has come into its own now. Zippy, there is grip down low, and Garrett Hommel is using it.
Oh, he absolutely is, but the biggest thing that's getting me about this race, Rhys, is we keep seeing at times 3 wide, which is absolutely terrifying to think about. These guys going 3 wide, 700 horsepower, and doing about 100 mile an hour. That is a lot for me to digest, but right now it's really working out for Mason Setting. I'd say he's pulled away a 1.3 second gap. He has, and oh my gosh, I'm going to have to send a sympathy basket at this rate. It's telling me that Kenneth Feeney has had another incident.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what part Feeney plays in this one, but the caution was brought out for William Kirk. This happened ahead of Feeney. Yeah, there you go. William Kirk had already spun at that point. He tipped it into the turn, but Ben Wilson was behind him. And it looks like Wilson just tagged Kirk as he moved up the racetrack. And Mo brought out the caution to bring us back under control again.
I gotta admit, like, some people would find the cautions kind of irritating, but myself, it means that we get a pack of 12, 13, 14 cars all back together again in something that runs a 14-second lap. That, to me, makes for great racing, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic racing. I always love Dirt Oval for that exact reason. It brings all of the door-banging excitement of short-track racing, plus the the surface management and sliding of the best you see from rallying and rallycross. It's magnificent. It's a great form of racing. Really happy to hear that No Limit Racing is coming back for a second season, starting very soon.
1st of July.
Yes, indeed. 1st of July is when the new season's going to start. Mason Setting leading us away again here on the restart, and he's running ever higher there, just able to get the top of the berm for the best exit possible. There's a really thin strip of fresh dirt there up the top for the drivers to use, and it looks like Nick Rhys is using it to good effect as well. Garrett Hommel now might feel like he's stuck down low.
Oh, a little bit of contact there, but thankfully able to keep hold of that car. As you see, Nick Rhys running a little bit wide, almost runs out over the berm, and it opens up the door for Thomas Hall, who's now side by side with the number 2 car.
Yeah, this is difficult here for Nick Rhys. He has to get the momentum back up and try and put Hall behind him, but Hall is one of the drivers who's making that low line work for the most part. I think it depends on the end of the circuit that you try it at. The entry into turns 1 and 2 is definitely a bit more slick all round, and you get to the inside sooner, you'll be able to get the run there. But turns 3 and 4, it's a little more difficult to get it done there. Dustin Regan versus Thomas Hall for 5th place. That is the slide job.
That was fantastic.
We have seen so many attempts at a slide job this season, and they've almost never worked out in favor of the driver attempting it. Well, we just saw it there.
It was a beaut. I'm sorry, but that was an absolute beaut. It's like he parked it on the apex, but I have a feeling... Oh, I hope I'm wrong. I think poor Kenneth's got caught in it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Unfortunately, Kenneth Feeney going for a slide, and Douglas Rockwell was right behind him, had already committed to the corner. And, yeah, I think Feeney's done, potentially. He's towed back to pit lane. And I think perhaps the most embattled driver here tonight is Kenneth Feeney. He's had a really rough time. If he decided to call it a night here, I wouldn't blame him. But I do hope that he gets back out there.
Well, it's fair to say that his mechanics are indeed working overtime, but you know what? I respect him more for keeping that thing going. He's definitely... I don't feel he's caused a lot of his own incidents. I feel he's just been given the short end of the stick and then beaten with it, but don't get me wrong, I don't think there's any malicious intent by any means. He just happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and like looking at, like, you know, just going off purely off iRating, you know, he's in the more starting out phase. It's all part of learning, and don't get me wrong, sometimes those lessons can be tough to learn, but he's going to be a better driver at the end of the day because of these experiences.
Yeah, exactly right. Gaining experience is the main thing. And with Feeney now spending a minute and a half in the pit lane, the caution has been extended to offer him the chance to get back out there. It's been a perfectly executed race from Mason's setting thus far. Obviously, he didn't start up the front as Feeney is back out. There we go. He'll come round to the back of the field, and we'll see if... yeah, we'll see if he can avoid trouble this time. It's funny thing is, for Feeney, despite all the incidents he's been involved in, none of them have really been his fault. I think just luck not falling his way. Let's see how the luck falls on the restart here. It looks like Hommel getting a great exit on the inside there, but look at how slick it is in the middle. There's fresh up top on the exit, and James Dorr using that to keep the 78 ahead of the 42.
Well, it almost is the high-speed conga line right now. They are all doing well over 100 mile an hour, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Rhys there going for the lower line. Garrett Hommel somewhat in the middle with James Dorr running up a little bit high. And we see there's a battle happening further back as well between Dustin Regan and Landon Falkenberg. And it looks like Falkenberg's going to get the edge. He's got Thomas Hall just ahead of him. Is he going to be a little bit too close and have to back it off? No, it appears to be okay. Regan going down up on the inside as Falkenberg has managed to make that move stick.
Yeah, looks like it, and now he's going to try and challenge Hall and Rhys there as Jared Miller is battling further back now with Mike Henderson. And up top, it looks like the 21 of Falkenberg is using that berm very nicely to stay in touch here. But Thomas Hall and Nick Rhys, the picture of consistency. James Dorr and Garrett Hommel now rounding out your podium spots here. As Mason Setting is starting to run away with this. He's got a lead of about a second as these two can't seem to get out of each other's hair.
Yeah, honestly, this whole race, it's been Garrett Hummel, James Dorr, and Nick Rhys all coming to collides, as that did not work out well for Hummel. He's managed to hold on to it. Very well done. But now Thomas Hall looking to get a really good battle there. James Dorr closing the door there, and Nick Rhys just trying to run away as fast as he can and try and get away from this absolutely colossal battle of the Titans happening behind him.
Yeah, Nick Rhys getting back into second place and just in time for the caution to come out once again as well. I'm not sure what's brought that out. It looks like Douglas Rockwell. Oh dear, there's a lot of damage to that car. And Rockwell's been carrying a lot of that for the majority of this race. He was already a long way behind the rest of the field. And it looks to me like he was just unable to keep the momentum up.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of damage on that right front. Thankfully, the suspension is indeed connected. Actually, beautiful suspension cutout there. Not quite sure why he's going backwards on track, though. That could be questionable.
Yeah, he's trying to get into the pits. I think he was aware that there was damage. Where he came to a stop was actually pit exit. So I think he mistimed his stopping on track there. So he has gotten into the pits, overshot his box though, so looks like it's going to be a bit of an issue for him. But the fast repair is done and he is back out there. As black flags being cleared by race control to get us back underway very shortly.
Well, we are indeed on lap 36 of 50 for green flag laps, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, they usually run a 35 lapper. This week, we are doing a 50 with it being the season closer and double points available to these drivers as well. It's definitely bad news for Jackson Whittington, the only driver I've ever seen in my entire 6 years of iRacing and broadcasting included, who had a bounty put on him, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely some very interesting things indeed. And I can give you an update as well. Ben Wilson hit on 120 mile an hour in this race so far.
Big speeds here at Lucas Oil is down low goes James Dorr, and it looked like Rhys tried to go with him there, but it didn't work out for Nick. And now he's mired back here with Garrett Hummel and with Thomas Hall, all trying to get that final spot on the podium. Huge battling going on with Dustin Regan finally getting past Landon Falkenberg there, and now challenging Thomas Hall. Looks like a bit of a late charge here from Dustin Regan. He's up 5 positions from where he started. A good run for the number 33. He's just got to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see there, closing the door on Landon Falkenberg, but there's going to be contact, a slight little bit of nudge. You see a little bit of damage there on the left front corner of Regan. Hopefully just cosmetic, as Falkenberg has been able to slip through. And you see that, a little bit of a slide job there, if I'm not mistaken, Rhys, but not quite able to get it done, as Regan's going to take the lower line, try and carry a bit more momentum, but the higher line seems to be that a little bit faster right now.
Yeah, Falkenberg, he tried to commit there, but the front end of the car just wasn't responding. He lost a lot of pace. That's way over the berm there for Dustin Regan. Now he falls under trouble from Mike Henderson, who's searching for the fresh dirt down low, and it's proving very hard to come by at the moment. Cleanest parts of the track right now are the straights. Dorr versus Hummel for second. It looks like Dorr is making use of the top of the berm very nicely. As long as you have the right rear right on top of the berm, you are going to be fast around here. But look at the momentum up the inside there from the 42. It looks like this has taken a few laps to complete here for Garrett Hummel, but he is going to try his best to get it done.
Yeah, James Dorr definitely getting a little bit more corner exit speed there, able to keep it going. It really is yin versus yang, fire versus ice on this occasion, ladies and gentlemen. And Nick Rhys getting a front row show for it as well. Jared Miller looks like he's in a battle as well, further back with Mike Henderson. Both of these guys experienced. You see Miller there getting greeted with the back end there of Henderson, not quite able to get it done. But the battle's continuing throughout the field. Ben Wilson getting in on the action as well. Yeah,
for sure. Landon Falkenberg, I think, has fallen victim to a timing error on my end. It seems he's fallen down the order, but that doesn't look like it's really the case. He's still in 6th spot. And it looks like Joel Real Timing is having a bit of trouble here. But we keep our eyes on the battle for second with Dorr versus Hummel. And Garrett is... He doesn't really have much choice but to go up the inside, 3 wide on the exit, as Nick Rhys is now mounting another attack.
Yeah, Nick Rhys has now been brought into this battle, and it's almost like he's applying a bit of pressure there to the backside of Garrett Hommel. Very respectful nonetheless. It was more of a gentle slap rather than a full-on giddy up. But look at this. It's almost in formation flying, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong, these cars have enough power. They probably could fly. 700 horsepower on a dirt surface is absolute downright terrifying if you ask me. But these guys very much battling it out right now, and it really could go any of these three drivers' way.
Yeah, James Dorr just needs to stay out of trouble here and he'll have the championship. Final laps are almost upon us here. Mason Setting is dominating up the front. We don't need to go to him. This is the big battle for second place. Oh, up the inside goes the 19. Careful there for Nick Rhys, almost clobbering the tyres as Ben Wilson has come to a stop up high. And it looks like we're going to stay green for the final lap here. Across the line, Mason Setting is about to come here. Nick Rhys has gotten into second. Dorr might have to settle for third. Big slide out of the corner. Final feature winner of the season is Mason Setting, and James Dorr finishes third. I think that might be just enough to give Dorr the championship.
Well, I can tell you, Rhys, is something... Oop. That's one way of celebrating. Roll over. But there was definitely an incident involving Mike Henderson near the end of that, and it looks like Ben Wilson as well. And admin decided to keep the race running. Let's try and get a little quick recap to see what happened in those closing stages.
Yeah, so focus on Ben Wilson here. And, turned around there was Henderson and, Wilson tried his best to thread the needle there. Jared Miller, unfortunately, was right there, and that was going to be the end of it. And Douglas Rockwell having an incident of his own there, catching the tyres a couple of times down low, and I think he decided enough was enough from there.
Well, that was definitely an interesting climax, and you know what? I'm glad Mo let that race keep running. The drivers were able to get it up and out the way, but I gotta say, that battle for second, third, fourth, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, massive fight there. Nick Rhys, James Dorr, Garrett Hommel all together, and Mason Setting, the victor of the feature here. Just a magnificent drive from the number 14, who, remember, joined in qualifying. We didn't know what his pace was going to be, but it turns out it was massive. Nick Rhys will finish in second, James Dorr finishing in third place, and again, we believe that might be enough for him to get the championship here, but that remains to be seen. Garrett Hommel and Thomas Hall will round out your top five, with Landon Falkenberg finishing in sixth place, ahead of Dustin Regan and Jared Miller. William Kirk is the final finisher on the lead lap. Unfortunately, Ben Wilson and Mike Henderson classed 3 laps down, with Rockwell, Feeney, and Morris also suffering issues at various stages in the race. Brock Morris was out very early, and that's a shame. The 05 was looking quick here today, and it would have been nice to see if he could hold on to that. We'll find our way to driver interviews, and the first man we are chatting to is Mason Setting, our victor. Well, Mason, you joined the session a bit late, but it turns out that didn't mean much of anything. You were very quick here today.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna be balls to the walls on the top, railing the wall. You know, you just gotta have enough faith in yourself to put that right rear on the cushion and let her eat. And I was the person to do that, which I'm known for doing that. But although bottom was pretty good on 1 and 2, 3 and 4, bottom wasn't that good, pretty slick. It was mainly bottom 1, 2, top 3, 4 early in the race.
Well, honestly, once you got into the lead, it seemed like it was pretty simple from there, with everyone battling behind you for second. It was just a case of managing the race from there on out.
Yeah, you know, I knew Nick was behind me. I knew James was behind me. I looked down and I had like a 1.4 second lead, and you know, even though there's only 14 cars tonight, I didn't want to burn my stuff up, so I kind of backed myself down, slowed down a little bit, saved a little bit of tire.
Well, the victory is yours for the final round of this first season. Season 2 coming up in July, we believe. And, I'm hoping that we're going to be seeing you there again for the next season of the series. But what are your plans, Mason?
Yeah, my plans are to run other leagues till then. I'll probably be running for points next season. But, yeah.
Indeed. It's going to be a very interesting second season. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Mason. Congratulations on winning the feature. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank Twisted Speeds and, yeah.
All right, Mason setting there, winning the feature here today. Next up, Zippy, it looks like we're going to be getting Nick Rhys in for a chat as well.
Well, Nick, what an absolutely fantastic battle you brought in today. It looked like both yourself, James Dorr, and Garrett Hummel were going at it the entire race. Tell us a bit about that from your point of view.
Yeah, man, I was battling those guys all night. That was really fun. Track was really good. Both the high and the low line came in, so made for some good racing with those guys. Very clean as well, so good racing with those guys.
Yeah, definitely did look like a lot of fun, but this is the season closer, double points on offer, and certainly you did join a bit later. Can we look forward to seeing you in the 1st of July for the beginning of Season 2?
You probably won't catch me towards the beginning. Won't be around, but I would like to make a few races in the middle and end of the season.
Well, Nick, definitely would be a pleasure to have you back. Certainly you put on a fantastic show yourself, James and Garrett, and Thomas Hall getting in on that as well. Even Landon Falkenberg, Dustin, but let's be real, a good portion of you having an absolutely fantastic fight. But Nick, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Yeah, I had my parents watching back home. My girlfriend was watching, a couple of boys in the Discord. So it's always good to have some friends watching. So made for good entertainment tonight.
Absolutely, and honestly, they have a lot to be proud of. Certainly a very tough field indeed. You put on a great show, and by all means, thank you very much for sharing the link as well. And by all means, share it a bit more, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed what you watched, please hit the like, subscribe button, and help us hit, the 1,000 followers, 1,000 subs, whatever it may be. But certainly, we'd love to see a little bit more airtime. But Nick Rhys, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you back sometime in Season 2.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nick.
And of course, that will bring us to the final driver interview of the night. James Dorr getting third place in the feature. And by my mental calculations, obviously don't trust them, James, you may very well be the champion of this first season of No Limit Racing. It was a very tough fight there with Nick and Garrett right at the end.
Yeah, man, it was fun, but I just want to point out the fact that I've got so many seconds this season. You went ahead and said I finished in second, man. I mean, that's disappointing. But yeah, hell, the third place, I got two fourths, the third, and then the rest were second. But I mean, I've hung in there enough to get that championship, or I'm pretty sure Mo's calculating the final points up now, so I'm pretty positive I got the points because Jared, where'd he finish? Jared finished 8th, so double points. I believe I got just enough to pull away with it. Hell of a damn job with that, but yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, the 3 wide at the end was very intense as well. I mean, from your position, leading the championship coming into the final round and being around those guys, especially Garrett Hommel, who was none too happy with the heat race earlier.
Yeah, he wasn't too happy with me for that, so... Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess on your mind, first and foremost, was self-preservation, just making sure you get to the checkered flag and get the points.
Yeah, so I really wasn't worried about Garrett that whole race. I wasn't really worried about Nick. They came in late, so they got points. I wasn't really too concerned about them. My main concern, was Jared and Dustin. Honestly, in all honesty, that was my main 2 concerns, is them 2, because they were so close to me there. So, but yeah, like I said, man, I just wasn't really worried about them. I was just trying to make the race, get the points, because it's double points for the championship round, and stuff like that. But we finished. I'm pretty positive we got the championship, so I'm happy with it, man. Hell of a season.
Absolutely. Well, it was a hell of a season. Fantastic for us to bring it to the public here on Pit Road Productions. But before we let you go, James, is there anyone you want to thank for your performance tonight?
My boy Aiden, he's been supportive all season. Jace, Grayson, y'all got Grayson up in the interview, so it's all of them guys, man. They've been supportive through the whole season with me. I appreciate it for them.
Well, this is going to round things off here, James. Thanks very much and congratulations. And Zippy, it looks like our league admin is with us now.
Yeah, James, we're going to keep you in here as well just for a moment. Mo, I understand you may have indeed worked out the points, but I apologize if I've literally just put you on the spot.
Currently still going through the standings, but here's what I'll do real quick. I'm going to go ahead and just tally up James real quick. And I could tell you in about 2 seconds if he's going to end up winning this thing, which I have a feeling he should. Let me go ahead and do this.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mo.
James,
While you do that, we'll keep grilling James in the meantime. Just give us a little bit of a hint when you're ready. Drop me a message or something, and by all means, we'll tap you up. But James, I've got to say, it was an absolutely fantastic season. So consistent. Can we look forward to seeing you back here for season 2? Kicking off on the 1st of July.
Damn straight.
Definitely a man of many words. Rhys, take over.
Oh, no other words needed. The new season starting up. We've watched this league grow from the outset, where there were only 5 drivers competing at the first round at Lanier, and then we find ourselves here at Lucas Oil with 14 cars on the grid. And in fact, for the final 2 rounds of the season, we had 14 cars on the server. So, James, I guess you're all looking forward to potentially even more drivers joining you for the next season of racing.
Yep, man, I hope so. I want this league to keep growing and keep growing, so make it more fun, more people. The more people, the more fun it is, man.
Absolutely. 100% in agreement with that. Well, it looks like Zippy Mo is ready.
Mo,
Yep.
I understand you have the scores on the doors. If you'd like to give us the standings of what you've worked out so far, by all means, do the honors.
So with the unofficial results, this is just me being pretty quick about it. I do have the top 3, which, James, you did not do as well as you thought you did. You did come in first, so congratulations. Then we had Dustin come in second with 2,400. James, you had 2,475. Dustin Regan, you had 2,400. And I believe in third place, as far as it stands right now, William Kirk. You came in third place with 2,300 points.
Attaboy.
Nice.
I will have the rest of the points updated by here within the next couple, probably 10, 15 minutes, and I will post them for all the guys to see in the Discord. And, it seems like this rivalry that we have going on is going to almost be like running a local track around the area, where these guys seem like they're definitely intrigued in being in the next season starting in July. I think a lot of them are still planning on running these recruitment races we're planning on doing, starting pretty much next week, going to run throughout May, June, and for us to lead off the next season in July. And it seems like I said, this rivalry between some of these guys is definitely going to be the start of the season in July.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to seeing how that one turns out, and honestly, Mo, we're looking forward to it as well. This has been a great season of racing. It's been fantastic watching the league grow, and here's to the next step.
Definitely. I greatly appreciate you guys over there at Pit Road Productions and, P1 Sim Sports. Kevin, I don't know if you're watching, but, we got to kind of see this thing unfold, and the amount of work that we put into this so far this year, and hopefully keep growing with you at P1. And, that goes to show, too, that we couldn't have done this without Fusion and 5-6 Graphics, for helping out with getting these top 3 guys something to kind of brag about a little bit. And then we're also planning on, Kevin and I will have trophies sent out to the top 3 guys. We came to a conclusion on that. So for anybody watching this too, that's kind of up in the the wind about this, about possibly trying to do some of these recruitment races to get in on the next season. I just want you guys to know that, especially for my guys that ran this season, we're going to continue to do this trend where you guys will continue to get prizes from the sponsors that we bring on and plan on getting trophies at the end of the season. But I mean, these guys definitely put on a show. I was watching a little bit of the stream while you guys were while we were racing, and I know you guys still seem pretty excited about it. There was a lot of good racing going on, and that's definitely what I like about these late models is these guys know that you can throw a few elbows here and there, but as long as you keep it somewhat clean, it makes for some damn good racing.
Well, I gotta say, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I think not only do we need to thank the sponsors, we need to thank the drivers as well. Everybody who came in, they showed up, they did a race, and then not only that, your community has been very supportive, and not only that, in recruiting other drivers, even without the recruitment program in place, it's been absolutely incredible community support. But I gotta say, it's been an absolute belter. I'm definitely looking forward to Season 2. Ladies and gentlemen, 1st of July, and there may indeed be a broadcast race between now and then. A little bit of fun in the works, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of a recruitment race as well. But don't get me wrong, if you want to get involved with No Limit Racing, just put a comment on the YouTube video you've seen, or indeed any of them. I will get a notification. I will definitely point you in Mo's direction. And if not in James Storr's directions, you can definitely hassle him for some tips. It is a fixed setup league, ladies and gentlemen, so don't worry about having to get a setup shop. They've dealt for that for you, ladies and gentlemen. But don't get me wrong, I think that's just about ready to bring it to a close. Rhys, any closing thoughts before you send off the show?
I think we've covered all of our thoughts, really. This has been a great series. There is more to come, and I'm looking forward to it. And we want to thank everybody on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel for tuning in over the course of this season, lending your support to the drivers and to us up here in the booth. And, well, we want to thank Mo and P1 and everyone involved with No Limit Racing for helping to make this series a reality. I'm Rhys Gardner, Daniel Salmon with me in the comms box and producing behind the scenes here on Pit Road Productions. The final round of No Limit Racing for Season 1, but on the 1st of July, Season 2 is coming, so make sure to stay tuned.